The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackast. It's the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass.
We're three, but today two lifelong fans of the show, reliving the belly laughs, bad ideas, and broken bones.
Indeed we are. Chris, you'll be missed.
Chris will be missed. Now Chris is dead. I don't know if you saw this, Jay, but for the two episodes that you weren't around on recording, there was a trending hashtag of Jay is dead. A lot of people were posting it. We know it's not true. Maybe though the new hashtag is just going to be like Mikey is schizophrenic, and you guys are just like figments of my imagination.
There's a bit in this episode where that those two things just layer nicely. We'll get to that. But
honestly, yeah, we will. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But no, I'm excited to do today's episode. We're doing Viva La Bam season 2, episode 6. It came out May 30th, 2004. And because Chris isn't here, I'm stuck with the responsibility falls on these big, strong shoulders of mine to give a fact of the day.
Does it feel a little dirty?
It feels a little dirty that I'm doing Chris's job. Yeah. I feel like I'm inhabiting his mind, and it's not a fun place to be. I got to be honest with you. I don't know how that guy survives. Are you an Indy 500 fan, Jay? Are you a racing fan at all?
Yes.
That's not true, is it?
Of course it is. What are you talking about?
Well, then you would know that on May 30th, on May 30th, 2004, Buddy Rice won pole for his team, and the owners of those team were Bobby Rahal, who I don't know, but another owner of that team was David Letterman in a rain-shortened race of 450 miles, which is insane that you have a 450-mile race in general. But, I guess what happens in the Indy 500 stays in the Indy 500.
So Letterman's just, he just owns that. He's like an owner in the team. He's not out there driving the cars, is he?
No, something tells me if he were out driving that car, we would have heard about his fiery death on May 30th, 2004. Yeah. Oh,
naturally. Yeah, yes. Well, all I can say is I hope that that happy team, everyone went home with a 10-pound bag of rice.
Because it was raining and they had to save their electronics?
No, maybe. I just figured because the guy's last name was Rice that he had like a hookup,
Oh, yeah. He was sponsored by Big Rice. Yeah. What? Uncle Ben was his real uncle, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And with great power comes great rice responsibility.
Yeah, the old Uncle Ben fortune. Yeah, famed. We'll pay you in rice. Listen, the episode today, season 2, episode 6. It's interesting. It kind of feels as off as today feels without Chris in a way.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because, dude, we're going from Mardi Gras last episode, a 2-parter, to this episode, and it's just basically like a checklist of who can do the most good deeds. It's Ape versus Bam. And another kind of a loose concept. One
of my big issues, and we had this issue with one of the episodes, Chris and I did. You had missed the Fat Boy face-off, but the episodes that make a competition out of something, and they even did this as well in Mardi Gras with the prank war, but they make a competition, and the way that they track points is just nonsensical. And I know people are going to think I'm such an idiot for like really caring about who's winning the points race, but like I'm a very competitive person, and when you say there's a competition going on, especially when there's stakes, and Chris echoed the same sentiment last time we were talking about the Fat Boy face-off, it just I don't know what to follow if you're not following the structure of the competition. Did you feel the same way about this one, Jay, where like random acts would constitute a community service that just didn't feel like it tracked at all with the spirit of the episode?
Yeah, I don't think they really gave much of a fuck. I think they probably realized they were short on ideas, or they spent too much of the budget elsewhere, and they're like, well, whatever, let's just shoot it and come out with what we come out with. And you're totally right, though. It's very disjointed, feels very lazy. I think before we give it a final rating here, we should probably talk about it. But
we have the episode to go over. I forgot. Yeah. I will say I'm not quite as down on it. I think it had its pitfalls, and we'll talk about this as we go through beat by beat. But I was initially more excited for it than I ended up being. And that's very similar to Fatboy Face Off. Like Fatboy Face Off should have been the best episode of the season. And they really fumbled the ball on that one. And this one feels at times similar.
Okay, fair enough. And speaking of fumbling the ball, before we get to the next sports related segment, I just got to step back a couple notches and talk about the disclaimer because I don't know if you noticed, but warning, the following show might be Duck Dynasty. I mean, look at me. The guy reading the disclaimer. I have a large mustache.
I thought he was
goes into
Duck
my
Dynasty's
sideburns and America and guns and
remember
civil
how fucking
rights,
big
hamburgers.
Duck Dynasty? Well, careful which civil rights they're talking about. Civil War rights, maybe, I don't know. But the Duck Dynasty was fucking massive for a while. I had written down Willy Wonka's older brother returning from Nam because it looked like he had some PTSD as well there. Yeah.
That's a good one. But yeah, we'll see more from this guy later. In
a segment I cannot wait to tear apart.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, me too, man. Me too. Hey, you want to talk about the theme song?
Of Viva La Bam?
No, I don't really want to talk about it. It's just we always do this.
I'm
every
always
episode.
down to talk about the theme song. 100%.
I don't know what's with that.
It's the best. It's one of the most iconic theme songs of all time. So, hey, look, if you're out there and you want to talk about the theme song with someone, don't hit up Jay, hit up me. I'll gladly talk to you for a couple hours about it. By the way, Jay, what? I have to, before we get into the episode, something really weird is happening in my life, and it's related to this podcast. We talked about episodes ago, how someone reached out to us on Instagram and offered to pay money to have us atomic wedgie them, which was okay, it's just like someone sending a message, whatever. Right. Since that's happened, I've had random messages on our YouTube videos about us being wedgied or them being wedgied, people messaging me about whether or not that actually happened or it's true or if I'll do it, coming from all angles. And I don't know if this is one person fucking with us or just a crew of people who have this wedgie fetish, but what is happening out there? It's bizarre. I'm sitting here at home at midnight, a message comes through and it's just are you going to wedgie someone for cash? And I'm I don't know. Leave me the fuck alone. What's happening?
All right. Well, I could partially explain it. I think
okay.
Two things just happened. Okay. One of them is you just definitely made it a lot worse by mentioning it. So get ready for that.
Yeah. You can't even bring it up without it getting, you're right. Yeah. I should have done that.
No. But number two, buddy, is, I think, and hey, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but we've been around the block a couple times. We're going on a year and a half doing this. It's pretty good. I think we might be getting to the point where people are starting to create their own little, inside jokes for the show. Stuff that, as a new listener, you might be like, what the fuck are they talking about? That's kind of endearing. I like that. That's sweet,
I'm okay with that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just so confused as to whether this is one person or actually a group of people. And if it's a group of people, are they in cahoots? Or do they talk
I hope so.
outside of their regular lives about how to best make this a thing? Or is it just randomly a bunch of people talking about wedgies? I mean, we have a big enough listener base that maybe they do just pick up on the same shit and we say random stuff and it speaks to enough people. But this is by far the biggest trend that I've been seeing from our listeners for sure. And by the way, hey, how about this? Yeah. Instead of messaging us about wedgies, leave us a rating and a review on iTunes or Spotify. Spend your energy there. I would really, really appreciate it. You know what? Give us 5 stars.
You can mention the wedgie in the review.
And mention the wedgie in the review. Yeah. That would make my month.
Okay. Well, now that that's out of the way, I just want to say thank you to everybody too, by the way. That is nice. That is sweet. I'm touched. I'm really touched by that. But who's not feeling so touched today? Miss April Margera. And you want to know why? Because Bam is here coming up to bat. And, we're not out at the baseball diamonds, guys. We're not out where we're supposed to be playing these outdoor sports. We're in the fucking dining room, that medieval Castle Bam dining room. I can see it in my memory already. But everybody's kind of stepping up to the plate. They're taking turns batting the ball around, breaking glass. It's chaos in there. But MTV does this thing in the production cycle where they're giving everyone nicknames. Bam is Babe Ruthless. And then you got Brandon the Chump Pyre. I believe Rab is the pinch shitter.
Shitter.
Some of them are
I think Dunn is switch hitter or something like that.
Yeah. But then something weird, really fucking weird happens. It's like we're getting all these pop-ups on screen, like, we're getting the names, Babe Ruthless. And then all of a sudden, for almost no reason, it's just like baseball, hot dogs, apple pie. And I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck was that? Like, it's like 2 seconds and then it's gone.
It was such MTV energy, everything about this one. And I agree. There are a couple times in this episode where the production really lets itself be known, like makes it, like puts itself to the front and center, whether it's a title card or a sound cue or like shifting from the paintball scene where we'll get to it, but they paintball Ape's car, and then it kind of like, it's like paintballs go all over the screen of the camera, and then there's like a screen wipe to the next scene. Like, this was one of the more overproduced, I think, episodes of Viva La Bam, and that's almost a shame, because when you get this first scene where they're playing baseball inside, like, epitomizes to me what we loved about Viva La Bam. It's just like a bunch of friends doing dumb shit that all of us would have done with our dumb friends. When you're watching them play baseball, you can tell there's rules that they've made up. There's a system. They've got competitive about it. And we're just like, we come into it in the middle of it. Like we're just like walking, like we're Ape, kind of just like walking into it and trying to pick up on what the fuck they're doing. The difference is like, we always said to our friends, hey, if we filmed this, people would find it hilarious, or like people would love this sport, like a basketball situation. Bam and his crew actually did film it, and it turns out, yeah, we really liked it. They're living like the kid in Blank Check lived when he got $1 million. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but like that's just like Bam Margera's life, and it makes me just so happy to get a little glimpse into it.
Yeah, you could only dream as a kid of being able to have this type of household.
Yeah.
To get away with this shit and only have mom come down the stairs holding her, 2 nicely folded towels and ask, what's the matter with you guys? But there's no real punishment. There's no discipline happening here.
No, of course not.
And by the way, she kept those towels folded real fucking nicely the whole time through, I gotta say.
Do mothers just learn how to fold better than the rest of the public? Because like you can't be born knowing how to do that, but like my mom folds fitted sheets, towels, and can walk around all day with them like that. My dad legitimately, I'm not kidding, doesn't know how to work a dishwasher, and is like blatantly like doesn't know how to work a dishwasher, doesn't know how to wash his own clothes. He doesn't know how to cook. His like quote unquote cooking days, he orders like Uber Eats or Skip the Dishes or something like that. Like he's I don't know. I don't know if they just go to different schools when they have kids or something, but it seems like that's the case.
Yeah. No, you're right. There's something there, something in the magic touch of a mother that you just know. But it's not long before they call to Ape. They say, "You're out, Ape." Like they want her to leave. They want to keep having the shenanigans, but she's not having any of it. She's not going anywhere. She wants this shit to stop. Hey, I know how to get her out of the fucking room. Let's bring Phil in and get him involved. Because here's the thing. I said it a minute ago. There's no discipline. There's no consequences here. And there's negotiation.
That's what they get. It's negotiation.
Not even really, because Phil, like, you're supposed to be dad. You're supposed to be like the big grumpy bear coming in. All right, your mother's had enough. Nah, he's just laughing and smiling. They throw a light bulb at him to bat. He hits it. The light bulb explodes. And then he turns around and goes, "What the hell was that?" It was a light bulb, Phil. It was a light bulb.
Dude,
are you paying attention?
I have trouble. I've said this before on the podcast. I have trouble watching this show as an adult, because to see someone swing at a light bulb with a baseball bat and not wearing safety glasses, I'm just like,
yeah,
how it's almost gross to me. And I just feel like such a fucking nerd. Thank God Chris isn't here, because he would double down on it. But like, I feel like such a nerd when I see things like that. And I'm like, you know what? That took it a little bit too far. Like, what are you talking about, Mikey? Shut up.
Listen, I think I have this theory that, and maybe I'm wrong, but is Phil always just woken up fresh from a nap when they call him in for shit? Because he never seems to know where he is or what's happening. Yet he's taking part. Like, he just takes part voluntarily, but he doesn't quite seem to be all there.
I love that idea. They just like, they know where he is in the house at all times. They just like, they're like, all right, we need him for a segment. He's just hibernating in there all the time. They just knock on the door. He's like, all right, how long do you need me? 15 minutes? All right, fine. Like, puts on his underwear, and that's about it. That's all you get from him. Yeah. I love that. That's such a good idea.
But hey, we got to get the milk into the rotation here. So let's have a change of pitcher, and up to the plate next. We're throwing a nice 2-liter carton of milk. Ape gets splashed just a little bit. She's not the one batting, but she gets some of the backsplash, and she pulls like a Jay's mom face. I know that face. That's not a good thing, guys.
Straight to the camera, yeah. Have you noticed she's gotten really good at knowing? There's one more moment. I'll try to remember to bring it up when it happens, but she's gotten very good at knowing where the camera is and how to play to the camera. Like after hitting the getting hit by the milk, she immediately just turns around to the camera. Like you said, she does the Jay's mom face, but like that's to the audience. Like she knows enough to be like, this shitty thing just happened in my life. I'm gonna play it for laughs, like I'm fucking Jim from The Office.
Right. Totally, Jim.
Yeah, she's gotten really good at it.
So it's not long before Phil mentions the Hobbit hole. He says, I had to park all the way in the Hobbit hole today. Wait, hold on a sec. This is 0.33 miles away from the house. And I love the idea that there's always so many people here at this household, camera crews, friends, family, that Phil can't even find parking at his own house. Like this is Toronto Maple Leafs Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals level of... Oh, wait, hold on. No, what am I saying? That would never happen.
There's 0 people in that parking lot if it's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, yeah.
Sorry, folks. But, so Ape's had enough, and she's not leaving. She's standing her ground, and Bam's just waiting for her to get the fuck out so they can continue the game. So she says, he says, sorry, I've got it. Good deed of the day. I'm going to give Phil his own parking spot, and I'll do more things from there. I'll gallivant throughout the community, and I'll help people. You do 5, I do 5, Ape. This episode, by the way, is brought to you by the number 5. 5, Mikey.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 acts of charity.
Exactly. A little bit of Jessica is all I need. Yeah?
Combo. Charity number 5. You know what I do like about this, as much as, maybe the episode takes a weird turn. It reminds me almost of like The Simpsons. Like the first 5 minutes of every episode is so... Right. It's so funny as like a microcosm, but has nothing to do with the rest of the episode. They just use it as a jumping off point to get the actual plot flowing. And that's exactly what you have here. It's like great storytelling and great television making. They're playing, like, immediately we're hooked. They're playing baseball inside. It's similar to when Bam and Dunn were like skidding through on the ATVs and all the mud before they had to build the pirate bar for Slayer. Like that kind of thing. It's like just them having fun. And it really gives you this impression that, like, kind of like in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it's just like every episode starts like it's 11 a.m. on a Thursday morning. And then it's like, oh, so this shit just happens to them all the time. Like, oh, Bam and his friends are just fucking playing baseball indoors at every hour of the day. Like, I love them building that brand for them.
Yeah, definitely. And you're right. That Simpsons reference, like that's the perfect point. Like I know exactly what you mean. They do that, eh? Like the first couple minutes, you're just fucking around and somehow we just go off in the other direction. And I don't know. I guess Viva La Bam, when you think about it, you probably want to look towards like MTV and the production crews having a hand in that. I would imagine like they kind of knew, all right, because I feel like some of these scenarios we get into, and we've talked about this before, it feels kind of like scripted, right? Like they knew, okay, this has got to happen, then this and this and this. And I feel like in this episode in particular, you kind of get a lot of that. Like you can kind of see through the magic, if you will, and you can kind of tell, okay, 100%. There was probably someone guiding that decision, but there's got to be consequences here.
Do you think, Jay, this is one of the most blatantly scripted episodes we've seen so far?
It kind of feels like it.
Yeah.
I would say that. Yeah. But we got to have consequences, though, because the loser's got to do something, right? So here's the agreement. If Ape loses, she's got to eat a bowl of cereal. That's it. If Bam loses, it equals Laura Ashley coming over to the house and taking a huge shit all over the master bedroom. It's going to be feng shui anal spray.
The Laura Ashley color that Ape talks about is just shit color?
Yeah.
But you can't call something shit color.
Why not?
Because I've shit. That's like calling it's a faux pas or faux poo. Like you can't call something skin tone anymore. You can't call a crayon or a marker skin tone anymore because there are so many different tones of skin. I've had tons of colors of shit. So if you call something shit colored, I'm going to need more out of you. I need more information from you. Okay. What did I eat the night before in order to produce this color that you're imagining in your head? Is it brown? I think
we can agree, like, okay, think of like a chessboard for a second, if you will. Okay. A shitty chessboard. I mean, the most common unit is the pawn. That's like your just natural brown, healthy, nut brown shit that has come out and that's what you see most of the time. But every now and then, maybe a rook moves into your territory, little green in there. Hey,
there's a little bit of green.
I eat beets? It's. I'm just saying,
you pop a hemorrhoid. Maybe. You pop a hemorrhoid. That's your queen. That's your queen because she's got that real spiky head. That's throwing her little red in there.
You know what I hate is when you got to take a shit and you think you're done, and then you go to wipe and you just wipe forever. I think Eddie Murphy has a stand-up bit about that from way back in the day about wiping a shit that just never ends.
Never ends. You got to get yourself a tushy, man. Trust me. Hey, Tushy, if you're out there and you want to sponsor this podcast, I'm a proud card-carrying member of the Tushy community. Turd-carrying member of the Tushy community.
Believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Listen, we got to keep moving. I'd love to sit here and I almost said it. I'd love to shit here and talk about shit all day. But listen, the battle is on here. Is basically what's happening. They're both game for this thing because otherwise, what the fuck would we be doing here for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Rake gets a quick shot to the nuts. He's down on the ground, and we are off. Now I gotta splice in right here that there is a bit of a transition here. So some time has passed, and Vito now pulls up in his 1980 Fiat Panda, off-white and rusty. So, first of all, he fits in that fucking thing?
That's the car that they got him when they smashed his truck at the end of Fat Boy Face Off. It's amazing that he's still driving that thing around because I thought there wasn't a chance. But, it's funny because we talked about that at the end where Ape gets her china cabinet destroyed and all of her personal belongings and the sentimentality of that. Vito just gets his truck smashed and we're like, so what? That means you're going to get a new car. But the fact that he did actually get bought a shitty car and still has to drive it is really, really funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it's just for the show, someone saying, hey, you pull up here in any other vehicle, you're going straight back home and getting the Fiat Panda.
100%. That's
for the record.
It's a great point.
I don't actually know that it's a Fiat Panda. Okay, so settle down, but go
it's
look up the Fiat Panda. It's
definitely not a DeLorean. We know it's not a DeLorean.
I literally Googled for this part of the show, shitty 1980s automobiles, and there was a list of the worst cars from 1980, and I think that was number 8 or something. So,
well, you brought up last week's episode, your Toyota Tercel, so...
Yes. Oh God, what a classic! We used to drive that fucking thing down country roads and fucking. There was a lake. We would just drive it around on the sand on the beach.
I thought you were gonna say we would just drive it through the lake. Yeah, we just drive it through the lake.
Yeah, it was like a fucking part submarine. Vito gets assigned to help Ape with the community service, so he is now on Ape and Phil's team for the rest of the episode. And here something strange happens. So right at this moment, after they assign Vito. Phil pops up, not Phil, Vito pops up on screen in a clip art circa 2000 graphic with a baseball helmet on, and there's this sound effect that plays, you just clicked on him in the interactive main menu of your publishing software, and he goes, Yo, Adrian, what about go to Apollo? I don't know, but I just thought that was funny because it's so out of place and weird.
This whole little segment, they have to show him coming and parking in the spot, but yeah, this little interstitial. And again, we talk about the weird production quality of this episode. All of their title cards and stuff like that remind me of the early days of the Jackass podcast, the thumbnails we would use on our videos that we go. It's a grainy ass photo, a weird background, standard fonts that we just stumble upon, wingdings and shit, and then highlights and borders around each person. Yeah. By the way, I looked it up. It's Don Vito's driving a Chevrolet Corsica. That's the car that he's driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a big piece of shit, though. White and rusty, and ugh, man. Yeah.
Hey,
like I said, though,
you are what you drive, my friend. White, rusty piece of shit.
Yeah, that adds up. Oh man, but yeah. So after we get the interactive portion of the episode, Bam gets the guys together because we need to do something for the public, the environment, for Phil, for the kids, and for the elderly. If we hit all 5 of those points, then we're good and we win the competition. We go and see what Ape's up to first, though. So she's doing some community service, which I don't even know if you could call this a community service. I think it's stretching the truth a little bit, but she gives Phil a haircut, and she says Phil's got a little bit of the STLB. Did you know what that was before they put the text
I didn't.
on screen
I
there?
didn't. It sounded sexual. It sounded like what you would call a weird shaped dick. Something like an STLB.
Like curves to one side?
Yeah, something like that.
Boomerang.
Like an acronym that I don't know. I don't want to know if it's been described or ascribed to my penis. But what is
So
it?
it's,
Short in the top, long in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have just said mullet, but...
She could have said mullet. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There
But
you go. So
I
Phil gets
disagree.
haircut.
I take exception, Jay, to you saying that this doesn't count as community service because Phil is a very cherished member of our community. So if you do him a service, you do the community a service.
Yeah, but he's on the fucking team with Ape.
Yeah. Listen, wash
should
one
be
hand
exempt.
with the other. I like it.
What?
This is nepotism. One hand washes the other. and as two hands are on the same team. Listen, let me see how to make sense of this because I'm not
Okay.
sure if I can. I'm going to have to
Yeah,
get
while
back to
you're
you
busy-
on this one.
Okay. I was going to say, while you're busy doing that, I'll just go and wash one hand with the other.
One hand washes the other. You never heard about that?
It's not what you said the first time.
Yeah, what did I say? Yeah. Fuck, I can't. I am
it.
becoming Chris. I really am embodying Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. He's haunting you from somewhere out there.
Yeah.
So it's Ape 1, Bam 0 at this point. But hey, it's Bam's term after all. He's going to go to give Phil his parking spot. That's the first thing he wants to get done. So there you go. Go help Daddy out. We need to move Vito's car, though, because he parked in Phil's spot. Of course, you're going to call Glomb to come and, settle the score. And I think what happened here, and hey, when they get the truck out, the tow truck and everything, I think this is just first time jitters using the old winch. And I get it. You see, Mikey, those cables, they're on sideways. So we're pulling the car here in a bit of a barrel roll fashion.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If they're trying to move a car, not the most efficient way to do it. If you're trying to avoid lasers being shot at you in Star Fox, great way to do it.
Yeah.
You just got the context
Agreed.
mixed because you can't shoot a barrel rolling fighter in Star Fox.
You just can't do it.
So
You can't. No. Deflect those fucking lasers out into
back
space.
to what I was saying.
Oh, you're coming back with that now. Okay.
I brought up Star Fox. Let me check my notes. Okay, I brought
Okay.
up Star Fox. There's one thing. I brought up washing your hands. That's the other thing. Okay, I've got
What is
another
happening
couple
right
things
now?
on my checklist. I have 5 things that I have to get to. Star Fox and washing your hands were
right,
one of them.
right.
It's all
Okay,
part of
yeah,
the,
so
the bigger picture.
I see what you're doing now. You're breaking the fourth wall a little bit. Okay, okay. All right. See? Huh? Jay caught on. Just took a little while. That's all.
took a little bit. By the way, this is funny because once they set up the winch to tip Vito's car over, his reaction to his car getting ruined is exactly the same as it was in Fat Boy Face Off. He's not worried about the car. His thing is that he has stuff in his car, and he's really worried about that. Because in the same thing in Fat Boy Face Off, when they were about to crush the car, he's like, I got stuff in there. And Deco says, it'll still be in there. It'll just be harder to get to. Now it's not going to be harder to get to because when the car tips over, it's like a bomb went off in his car. Did you notice how much trash fell out of his car?
Yeah.
When it rolled over, it was gross. It was like bigger than the car should allow. More space in that car was taken up by trash than anything else.
Which is why I don't understand why at the end of the episode, I won't spoil it yet, but what's he so upset about? You know, he drives around in a trash can, so he should be fine with it.
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
And I gotta say stuff, eh? Like, is that what they're calling underage? You don't know. Forget about it. It's fine.
It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what was actually in there. I said the same thing in the Fat Boy Face Off episode.
Oh, by the way, Chris, if you're listening right now, post recording here, what Mikey just did about 60 seconds ago, if you want to roll it back, was broke the fourth wall. So just wanted to lay that out because I figured if I hadn't gotten it yet, Chris was probably still working on it.
He's still going to be confused when he comes back. And now you're breaking the fourth wall, but only for Chris. This is getting too meta for us.
Everybody else skip over this part of the podcast, please.
Yeah, you're not
This
supposed to be
intended.
listening to this. If you hear our voices and you're not Chris, don't be listening to us.
What are you doing? Stop it. Cut it out.
Move
right now.
along.
Jesus Christ. Why don't you just move the car?
Why don't
Why don't you just move the car?
Where's the car?
Well, anyway, Phil's got his parking spot now. So Bam won, Ape won. It's a tie game, folks. And there's this part where they're standing in front of the overturned car. And Bam talks to the camera here. Like, it's like him and the crew just looking at the camera and Vito, like, just to the, left side of the screen looking at Bam. And he goes, well, we got one thing down. Phil now has a parking space. And there's like this brief pause. Vito looks over at Bam like Bam's this crazy guy talking to a non-existent TV camera like, what are you talking about? Is Bam the only one who sees the cameras, Mikey?
I was going to say, do you think Vito doesn't realize he's on a show? He's just like, I don't know, I just live with a really crazy family. Like he can't see the camera. That's a great thing worth considering, because I'm going to keep an eye out for it. Maybe he's just completely unaware.
Well, speaking of keeping an eye out for it, he's only got one of those that work. So
that's true. Maybe that's why he can't see the camera. It's always in his blind spot.
All right, Ape's task number 2 for the day. We're going to go into Bam's closet, take Bam's t-shirts to the skate park, to the kids who could really use them. And I got to say, when they get to the skate park, Mikey, these kids be like, who the fuck is Bam Margarine?
They don't look like they do.
Yeah.
I loved this part. This may have been my favorite segment from the show. I just found the idea really funny of Ape finally being like, okay, I'm going to play ball. I just cut Phil's hair. Now I'm going to fuck with Bam as part of the process. And I always wonder how much of this is scripted, but it really did, especially when Bam finds out about it, felt like this was more real than fake. Yeah. They're there with a bag or a box full of stuff, and some of the shirts are in packages, but not all of it. And it feels like they did actually give away some of Bam's real shit to these kids, which is amazing. Because Bam you can't be mad at it, right? Otherwise you're a dick. What are you going to do with a fucking Element t-shirt? Bam, get another one.
She fucking cleared out the closet too. And you say like, you can't be mad, but Bam is clearly mad on camera. So, I mean, it just kind of, I don't know. I got a bad feeling from that. Cause I mean, like, you're right. You kind of gotta, I could see being a little upset, but I mean, like, dude, you've got so much fucking money. What are you mad about, really?
You know what it is for him? It's that he doesn't like being pranked on camera. Like he just, you can tell he really takes it personally. And we've seen it before in Viva La Bam when someone kind of gets one up on him, and he's just like, he's miserable, but he's stewing. Like, remember the episode where they go onto the island and Ape and Phil leave him there? And you can see he's just like a little kid. He's just like, you can't on camera get the better of me because I'm Bam Margera. And that kind of brings out the worst in him sometimes.
Yeah. I hear you. But, the show must go on. It's Ape 2, Bam 1 at this point. And you know what? For the kids on Bam's side now, the first line we get out of Bam is, fuck the kids, I gotta beat Ape. Case in point. Let's make a half pipe and I'll skate it too, he says. So we're off to Ace Hardware for a concrete truck rental here, which they pull out in the parking lot. And of course, they got to go in and get some tools. So they ask Ryan Dunn to stay behind and don't do anything stupid, Ryan Dunn. All right. You got it. Wink, wink to the camera. Listen,
he looks so mischievous. He looks so, the whole time, he looks so mischievous. This is like peak Ryan Dunn for me.
Does putting his head in the cement chute count as anything stupid? Because he does that like almost immediately.
I feel like, Jay, if you put either of us in charge of a cement truck, how long until we're sticking our head in that exact same spot? Like, how long do you think you could just stand next to a cement truck working with the keys in it and not pour cement on the ground just to test it out? Like, I'd give me 10 minutes and I'd have to do it.
Yeah. If MTV's fronting the bill, yes.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll do anything. Yeah. But Dunn says, fuck it, guys. Let's just build a ramp right here in the parking lot. Well, he doesn't quite say that yet. I mean, he was playing with the damn thing. The button's all touchy. It's not his fault. But I think he knew, you know what? This is the setup. And this is where I'm getting back to my point earlier about they're orchestrating this stuff and you can kind of see through it. It's like, why else would he have done this? They knew they're going to build that ramp there. That was the idea all along. The store owner is clearly in on it. He comes out.
Oh my God.
The mustache
so
guy
clearly acting. The same guy who does the intro, and he does the intro to this episode in the daytime. So when he comes out to talk to them at night, it's like, so wait, like, are you guys trying to pretend? Like, do you think they actually expected us to believe that was real? Or do you think they're just like, hey, we're kind of just blurring the lines between truth and fiction in this?
Yeah, I think like as a viewer, you see through it pretty quickly. I think you have to, right?
I don't know if I did as a kid, though. I don't know if I was cynical enough to see through it as a kid. And keep in mind, this is also like, before reality TV became like what we know reality TV to be as, which is like the most scripted form of television that exists, almost more so than like scripted television. And it turns out that was always the case, with the exception of maybe Survivor season 1, which is, I think, one of the best seasons of television fucking of all time. But I wonder if they just really thought they were pulling one over on us because we hadn't gotten wise to some of the pitfalls of scripting reality TV.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right though, man. Like, as the, fuck, I don't want to call it the genre, because I feel like it doesn't even really deserve the moniker of having like genre.
A genre, yeah.
But because it can be pretty trashy. But listen, okay, the genre of reality TV, and you're so right. Like, over time it ages, but when it started, holy shit, like it was way different. And I want to touch on that for a sec, because you mentioned Survivor season 1, and I remember when we were starting to see more shit like this. Do you remember around the same time a huge show was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Which was like this new concept of like, I think it would come on around the same time as Survivor, and I just remember watching that show and thinking like, wow, $1 million. Like a game show's never done anything like this before. Yeah. And that was like cutting edge at the time. But it always seemed like they never wanted anyone to fucking win the $1 million. It was almost like they had a guy in the audience, like a sniper scope and the red dot, just in case he got a little too close to the final question.
You always wonder like how much they put their finger on the scales a little bit, like how much they try to tip them in the favor of the audience or of it, like make it exciting. I remember I was watching live the first time someone won $1 million. That, what was his name? Richard or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, he fucking called his dad and he's like,
dude,
hey,
that guy was a fucking boss. That was
dude, come on.
He didn't use a lifeline the whole time. Then at the very end, he uses one to call his dad and tell him he's about to win $1 million. That was fucking brilliant.
Just waltz it in there and fucking takes a huge shit on the floor. Eat that, Regis Philbin.
100%. But what color is the shit? I mean, that's again, I need to know these things, Jay.
Well, Mikey, when you have a rook on the board, as we discussed earlier,
a little bit of green.
A little bit. Listen, the mustache man is here. He's acting upset. He says, I want it cleaned up by 7 a.m. because this is America. And we got curly fries and maxi
That's
pad
what you think of when you think of America?
Instant coffee here in America.
Your version of America sucks. Curly fries, tampons, and instant coffee. Those are the 3 most iconic things. Not Eagles. You're not going to say Eagles?
Well, yeah, I'm sure they're down the list somewhere, but I'm just going by matter of importance here, Mikey.
Fair.
As you can see. So I don't know any Eagles that, did the Eagle write the Constitution? That's what I want to know. Or was
but there are a lot of Eagles in Philadelphia. We know that.
Yeah.
At least one football team's worth.
I guarantee you everyone there writing the Constitution was sitting around fucking having some curly fries, drinking their instant coffee,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So they got to clean it up by 7 a.m. Otherwise they're fucked. So they just fucking keep pouring cement all night and turn it into a skate ramp. By 6 a.m. we've got a concrete skate ramp in the parking lot. Dunn shows us how it's done. He does say that, by the way. He says, I'm going to show you how it's done. So now I think even he's become privy to the joke here.
It's his tagline now, man. You can't take it away from him.
You just can't take it away. He drops in, falls over. A little kid says, thanks, Bam Margera. And we're off to the races. But hey, Mikey, I think we should roll back and check and see how things are going, at the Margera residence here. Fat Boy Phil. We got the parking space. Did you see that sign? It says Fat Boy Phil on it.
I like it. It's similar enough to Fat Boy Slim, but different enough. And which I think wasn't Fat Boy Slim. That music video, Praise You, I think was directed by Spike Lee. Spike Jones. So I think there's almost a little crossover there. Fat Boy Phil, Fat Boy Slim, Spike Jones is kind of the glue to hold them together.
Right.
And I don't know what that means, but there's a weird connection you can make there if you wanted to for some stupid reason.
I'm sure if you need glue for that, you just look under Don Vito's feet and you could probably
like a mucus of some sort. He's got webbed feet.
Well, you see, they used to make glue out of the hooves of horses, and I just thought, because he's kind of a creature. Anyway, it's not important. Ape pulls up to an overturned Vito-mobile and just parks nonchalantly. I guess they're just kind of treating that as decoration now, like oil leaking all over the yard, leaching into the soil. No one gives a shit. No. Bam finds out now that his clothes are gone from his closet. We mentioned this briefly, so we don't need to go too deep into it, but he is mad, really, really fucking mad. So much so that when he goes into his room, if you're watching the uncensored version of this, I'm sure you get all the expletives, but on MTV it was just beep, 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 baby. He's not happy. But yeah, to retaliate, they bust out the paintball guns and they shoot down Ape's PT Cruiser there.
It's before they leave, or as they're leaving, Ape asks Phil to protect her, and he says, "Get behind something strong." And that feels like a joke that he's making, but I think if you know Phil well enough, he's talking about himself. He's telling Ape to get behind him because he is something strong. And I would, in the event of an emergency, definitely associate myself as closely to him as possible. If you're going down in an airplane, use him as like a pillow of some, like a safety pillow of some sort. Maybe a raft. Who knows? I'm sure he looks like he floats. Am I wrong in that?
No, you're not wrong at all.
He looks like he floats.
We've had that discussion before too, actually.
Yeah. Like imagine the scene from Titanic, except they're not on a table. Rose is holding on to Jack and they're just on the back of Phil Margera the whole time.
Him with his fucking hamburger shirt on there. So I gotta say, you're totally right though when he makes that comment. Get behind something strong. Oh, Phil. Yeah, you pose, you show pony, you.
Yeah, hell yeah, you do that.
And pose while you still can, because we're going to turn you into glue after this episode. So, listen, Bam comes out on the ATV. He's mad, shoots up the PT Cruiser, and then buggers off. And that pretty much ends there. We see the end of Bam's rage, but now we're going to go somewhere a little quieter, take things down the notch. Ape is in the retirement home reading some books to the folks there. I got to say, Ape, you're not a very good reader. I mean, I've read books in my time. You're a little stilted on the delivery, you know.
Here's the thing, too. Why is that a thing? Going to read books to old people? Do old people like being... Have we asked the old people? Do they want to have books read to them? Like, if I'm 80 years old and someone comes to read me the new Danielle Steele novel or something, I'm burning the place down. I don't want you to read that shit to me. I hope at that point I'm playing video games still, actually. I hope I keep my coordination enough, because that would make old folks' homes like actually kind of decent.
Oh, fuck yeah. But I think you got it all wrong, Mikey. I mean, if I was in an old folks' home, but fuck it, I'm not listening to Ape coming here with their stilted, styrofoam delivery. I'm putting on Audible, and I'm getting like a gravelly British guy to read me some shit.
That's true.
That's what I want.
That's
Does all
true.
the voices and shit. Come on.
Audible like audiobooks. I went into that phase for a while. I love them. I'm back to like reading. I like that. But there was a while where I'd listen to audiobooks in my car all the time. I fucking loved it. But
everybody thinks this is a fucking ad read right now. I love this. Yeah. Keep going.
Hey, look, we're sponsored now by Tushy and by Audible. Come at us. I don't know. I've just always found it so weird that people are like, I went to the old folks' home and I read them a book. I'm like, I bet you just read your own book out loud and then wanted to feel good about yourself, so you did it in the vicinity of old people who just wanted to take a fucking nap.
When you said your own book, I thought she was like fucking brings her biography to the old folks' home, just reading about herself. Oh, God. All right. Well, anyway, Bam comes down to the old folks' home on his ATV to transplant some trees. But first, he's got to, we got to extract them from the Margera residence, which he just basically like runs them over with his ATV. And I'm like, with all the shit nowadays about the environmental movement, we're trying to like plant trees, not destroy them. It kind of came off as, you probably like, someone out there would probably be like, just like upset to the core at seeing this. Probably.
You do have that kind of thing where, and I always wonder, because Chris gets so fucking worked up about this stuff, where like you see one news article or I guarantee you saying that, you asking the question, are people going to be upset watching Bam Margera mow down a tree on an ATV? Chris is all of a sudden in his mind, 80% of the world would get upset by seeing this. And I always wonder, like, are people actually getting this upset about these things, or is there just a vocal minority that we know can exist out there, because the internet consists of fucking every opinion you'd ever want to find, and we're just working ourselves up about it, even though generally speaking most people are pretty even keel? Like, are we just worried about like the extreme you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Because I filmed that. I the same thing. I saw him on the ATV on the tree, and I was like, oh, I bet you someone's gonna be pissed off about this. Who is actually going to be pissed off? Would we hear from? Probably not. And all of a sudden, like, we're worrying about something that doesn't even exist.
Chris, if you're listening, if you could write in and just tell us at this point of the podcast how you're feeling about this, we'd appreciate that.
We're breaking the fourth wall once again. But guys, if you're, fucking Jay, we got to set this straight. If you're hearing us talk about this and you're not Chris, get the fuck out of here. Move on.
No, it's just fucking
Let
rude.
us talk to Chris. We can't do it during the recording. We know he's going to listen to this later.
Yeah, exactly. If you're getting a prostate exam and the doctor, comes back with the bad news, you don't invite grandma and Uncle Ben and your cousins in to come and listen to the diagnosis. That's
Uncle
your
Ben's
business.
busy sponsoring the Indy 500 with all those rice giveaways.
He's a busy man.
Jay, let's play a game right now. Let's play a game right now.
Okay.
Let's give a message to Chris to see if he listens to this episode.
If he did his homework.
If he did his homework. Okay. We'll say this. Chris, you have to start off your fact of the day in the next episode by saying this. Like, don't make a fact of the day. Just say, hey, by the way, I heard what you guys said about me. And we need to hear. Otherwise, we know you don't listen to the show. And that's upsetting. And that's insulting to us.
Yeah, you should always listen to your own show. Every episode.
I know I have to listen to it 3 or 4 times when I'm editing.
Oh man, talk about last week, eh? Ooh.
Oh my God. Yeah. Peek behind the curtain. I know we lost Chris's video about halfway through the episode. Man, we had some issues recording that one. That Premiere Pro, I do my editing in Premiere Pro because we have the video as well. That timeline looked like a fucking murder scene. It was brutal.
Oh my God. But hey, Mikey, speaking of a murder scene, hey, what, you thought I was going to say something about the old folks? No, I'm talking about the trees because
I know I was wondering where you take it. Either one would work for me.
Okay, well, at least I know you're unbiased. So we bring the trees down to the old folks' home on the top of the Hummer. We got the whole crew here, and Mikey, oh no, don't bring the trees down to the old folks' home. This just can only go badly. I feel like I'm starting to get bad vibes seeing them pull up, and these are some aggressive 20-something-year-old boys just full of piss and vinegar. Yeah. They aren't down there to read their biographies. That's all I know.
They're down there to make noise, wreak havoc, and if there's one thing people in a retirement home hate, it's havoc. I feel like that is the number one thing that they hate most in this world. If you're gonna wreak havoc, do it outside of the grounds of the old folk home. They don't want that shit. Get that out of here.
No. And you see the reactions on some of these old folks. The boys roll up. They start planting trees. And then Bam says, the old people in the trees have one thing in common.
Oh, I couldn't believe he said this.
They're both going in the ground soon. Ape then disowns Bam and pretends that she doesn't know who this crazy man is. And I guess that's 3-3 on the scoreboard. Now we're tied up. I love there's a little moment here before we leave this scene of the old folks kind of like slowly walking up to the trees after everything is settled. The dust is settled. Bam is left. And they're kind of just poking at the trees with their walking canes. And then one falls over because it wasn't rooted properly. Yeah. And an old lady just puts her hands on her head. And she just looks mortified at this scene. It's like...
this was my least favorite part of the episode, and I'll tell you why. I started to get skeptical of what was happening when Bam and his crew turned into the quote-unquote retirement facility, and you'll find out why I'm saying quote-unquote first. And the sign itself said White Wing, and then had retirement community like pasted onto it in the bottom. Different font, not aligned, and I'm like, what is that about? So the next scene comes out, and you see the old folks walk out of their what should be their retirement home, and it's like the washroom on a golf course. It's not big. It's like probably 40 feet by 50 feet or something like that. And that's where they're doing all the tree planting. And I'm like, this looks more like a golf course or a farmstead than a retirement home. So I looked it up. And Jay, would you believe it? White Wing retirement community doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. And I don't think it's something that went out of business because, first of all, if a retirement community goes out of business, what do you do with all the retired people inside of it? Do you just have to like walk away into the sunset and like find a new place to hunker down? Secondly, like no Google history search, nothing, but there is in Pennsylvania a White Wing It's called White Wing Inn and Bed and Breakfast. So there is like a kind of farmstead where I propose they staged this whole thing. And I hate to ruin it for everyone, but God damn it, you don't cover your tracks. Mikey's going to come after you in his conspiracy corner.
Actually, Mikey, I think that's a great diagnosis of the situation. And you even did the research to back it up. So there's a very high likelihood that you've got that right. But I want to interject and say that, did you ever consider that maybe the reason the bottom half, retirement community, was pasted on is because that was a replacement? You see, the original letters there, they got scrambled around by some punk kids to read imminent come.
Did you just make that?
I don't know. You want to fact check it, see if it works?
No. I mean, is that like an anagram?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, wait. Why imminent come? Why that then? I thought you just made an anagram.
I mean,
because it's imminent.
That's the natural cycle. I mean, that's just, that's how it works, Mikey.
Oh,
imminent come.
You're talking about the circle of life and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. It could be. Yeah. That could be it. In fact, they could have used some of that imminent come to slap that bottom part of the label and adhere it there. Never mind Don Vito's glue legs. You could just use some of that imminent come and smack a new sign up there.
Listen, that was really bad. So we're gonna move on because I tried, folks. I can only give you my best.
No, we love your best, Jay. We love your best.
But you know what? I'll tell you what. After a comment like that, I feel like a little bit of a, as they used to say, if believe it or not, back in the Attitude Era days, I feel like a little bit of a trash bag hoe. Let's go and I think you remember that, don't you? Oh,
I do, of course.
The shit you could get away with back in those days. Let's go down and pick up some trash, shall we? Bam's crew shows up to help Ape, Phil, and Vito, who are down there, picking up some trash. But I got to point out that at this point, I really feel like I'm just enjoying a community service instructional training video. They've got the reflective vests on. But anyway, they come in and they put all the bags. Here's what I found strange. When they picked up the trees earlier, they put them on top of the Hummer. This time they put the trash bags inside the Hummer.
Yeah.
Why?
That was weird. It looked stinky. It looked very stinky. And to be clear, if people haven't seen the episode, this is Bam hijacking the community service. Ape, Phil, and Vito go down there. And by the way, Vito could reflect the entire luminosity of the sun when he wears a reflective vest. That's the first thing that I want to get out of the way. The second thing, he's just that big. The second thing is they go there and they do all the work. They pick up all the trash, and then Bam and his friends come and say, "We'll drop this off at the dump," or something like that. And then they count that as one of their community service elements too. So, and you mentioned, Jay, in the last one, after the retirement facility, you said it was knotted up 3-3. Not true. They counted Bam Margera's tree planting as two things.
Oh, fuck.
Environment, because he's moving trees, and helping elderly people because he's planting trees at their place. And again, I don't want to be the stickler, but fuck off. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Okay.
Ape did this.
You were okay with the haircut, though.
I was. Yeah. You know what? I was, because I think Phil is a valuable member of the community. I'm okay with that.
I thought you just wanted Ape to win.
I think I did just want Ape to win.
I think you wanted that Laura Ashley fucking diarrhea dump. I think that's what you wanted.
I wanted the diarrhea dump, Laura Ashley. By the way, Vito reminded me of two people in this scene very closely. One is Rab himself, and the other is Chris, who isn't listening right now, because Vito's just sitting on the side of the road. He's just sitting there as Ape and Phil are picking up trash, and they're like,
his
"Vito,
computer
you
not working us? Too?" Or
yeah, it's because his computer's not working. Yes.
Sorry, I love you.
Peek behind the curtain. Yeah. They say to Vito, they're like, "You gonna help us?" And he says, "No, I'm tired." As though that's a legit excuse. No, I'm not gonna help you. I'm fucking tired. And he says, in a weird moment of foreshadowing. Did you pick up on this foreshadowing, Jay?
I don't know what happened.
He says they've got prisoners that'll come do this stuff.
Maybe
Smash
one day.
Cut to 5-10 years later, and Vito is probably picking up trash at the side of the road.
A man can dream. So they drive the trash back, and we don't really find out yet what is he doing with all those trash bags, right? We don't know. We just know that he took them and stowed them away for the time being. But yeah, they come home. I guess at this point we're done. It feels kind of abrupt. Like I didn't realize we were done already.
Yeah.
They come to celebrate the community service. Well done. They pop the bubbly and everybody's celebrating. Ape is kind of like, she knows she's lost at this point. Bam's really rubbing it in. I mean, they hit them all though. Kids, environment, elderly, public, Phil. I guess they got it. Ape and Phil, they only actually had 4 categories. But yeah, there you go. So I guess she's going to be eating the bowl of cereal after all. What did you expect out of this? Like before the reveal, what did you think this was going to be?
I didn't remember this. I know I've seen this episode, but I didn't remember what it actually was. I was very curious. The one reason I was happy Bam won is because I did want to see what this quote unquote bowl of cereal was going to be all about. And it gave us a pretty good scene. So I'm happy with it. Basically, instead of just one bowl of Fruit Loops or something, they make a giant swimming pool, like one of those kiddie pools, full of milk and cereal. They go in and see it, and Ape's like, well, I can't eat the whole thing. Meanwhile, Deco pops out from underneath it, which was a great little touch. And they called him Raisin Bran, which is cool, like Brendan DiCamillo. So
I get it.
Nice.
Yeah. Raisin Bran.
Nice.
Like shout out to General Mills. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to General Mills, our third sponsor of today's podcast.
Hey, Mike, did you find that you have trouble going to the bathroom at the end of the day?
I do, but I find that wiping after I go to the bathroom isn't an issue because I have Tushy.
Oh man, 2 and 2 go together. You can listen to an audiobook while you're doing the job. I mean, come on.
2 and 2. 2 and 2. Speaking of Tushy, yeah, goes together well.
Yeah, we don't even need retirement homes. When I'm old, just lock me in a bathroom with a Tushy, a fucking smartphone, and some.
Give me my Steam Deck,
Bran,
Steam Deck, a Tushy, and some Raisin Bran. 100%. I'm into it. In fact, you know what? Never mind that. I will just live in a bowl of cereal like this.
Yes.
I get my nutrients. I get my cereal. I'll probably have to leave to go to the bathroom. I got to figure that one out. That might be tough.
Okay. Hey, how hot do you figure that milk was?
Oh,
like with all the body heat. I mean, like 4 dudes plus Phil jump in there. So
wait, why 4 dudes plus Phil? Why doesn't Phil count as a dude?
I don't know. I think my train of thought was 4 dudes, and then I just thought like he's kind of like. I don't have a good explanation.
To be fair, I think
vilify me if you want.
I think he probably is several times hotter than the average guy. I think his body heat probably radiates a little bit more. I think if Phil is alone sitting in a pool of water, that thing becomes a hot tub within 10-15 minutes.
Oh, come on. Yeah,
the bubbles start coming up around him. They're like, yo, can we turn the heater off or the jets off? They're like, they're not on. It's a natural hot spring with this guy.
So we're getting to the end here, but I do got to mention, and maybe you've noticed this, Mikey, over the course of April appearances way back yonder. We've seen many. Why is her default interpretation of just about any situation just like automatic response? I'm upset about this. She sees the giant bowl of cereal when she walks in there and she's mad. She's like not happy that this is here. If I saw a giant kiddie pool full of Fruit Loops, I would think that
sign me up.
It's pretty fucking awesome.
Sign me right up. Yeah.
But
well, you know what it is? I think it's the instinctive motherly thing of
maybe
like,
that's what it is.
I'm going to have to clean this up. That's what she sees when she looks at everything.
Yeah.
She's like, you guys aren't going to clean this shit. MTV doesn't clean this shit. Someone has to get all this milk and cereal out of the house, and that's going to fall on me. It's like when someone in the family's like, we should get a puppy, and the mom's like, absolutely fucking not. And the whole family's like, mom sucks. She doesn't want a puppy. It's like, that's because mom's going to have to take care of that puppy. That's why she's upset about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. And she's upset, but I think she, like most things that we see her in, once she realizes that, oh, you know what, the waters are safe, for lack of a better metaphor, she lightens up and has fun. Like they even push her in and she's not mad. She's laughing and smiling. Yeah. So it's like, you know, she's one of the crew. She's there to just have fun, but it's just funny that every time she's confronted with something, just boom, it's on anger immediately.
Her instinct is to be upset. I think that's also, she knows the value she brings to the mathematical equation that is Viva La Bam. She has to play that role, right?
It helps though. You're totally right. Like it I think you would want her to react that way. That's what the people want to see. So
you know what? It makes the times when she does get in on the joke that much better. You know, because if she were always just like, you know, her dynamic between her and Phil, how Phil's the one who's just like, yeah, your mother's upset, but let me take a swing at one of these light bulbs real quick. Like that, like his energy is really nice there. It makes it feel like she's on an island sometimes. So when finally she is like, all right, I guess I'm not going to be the only one holding this household together. Fucking, I'll jump into that kiddie pool full of cereal. That always makes everyone feel like, great. Okay, good. She's having some fun.
Yeah, she's lightened up. It feels like a victory. But you know what's strange? Before we fade to black and say goodbye to this happy family swimming in their Fruit Loops, she asks, "Where's Don Vito?" Like, why, Ape? Like, do you want him to join in? Is that like, I don't? Why are we asking for this?
No, it's because when you're in a pool, you need to know where Don Vito is at all times, because if he gets too close, it means he's probably going to come in with you, and that's your cue to fucking leave. So she's just trying to keep tabs on where he is so she can make a quick exit.
You're sitting on his face right now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So later, though, speaking of Vito, we get kind of a end of the show segment here. Don Vito's just having some quiet time at home. He's watching TV. I don't know what the fuck he's watching. They put some weird like stock music behind whatever was on the TV, and it like I almost thought for a second, like, is he watching like 70s porno or something? Like, what the fuck is
Probably.
this? But trash starts raining down from the skylight. This is where Bam was, saving the trash for. So we're getting trash bag after trash bag thrown at Vito. He's yelling up at the skylights. I like how he just kind of stands in place, though, and just lets the bags hit him. Yeah, but he's now basically just trapped inside his one-story bungalow until somebody comes in and removes this trash from the looks of it.
I liked this part. I thought it was a very funny prank. Vito being pranked in his place of residence, which I think is just like a bunkie that was built outside of Castle Bam or maybe closer to their old house. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if he moved into Castle Bam with them, but we've seen this bunkie before. It's the one that they tunneled into in one of the Jackass movies, right. I believe. So it's nice to see that he's always kind of being fucked with there a little bit. But again, he's sitting there as they're raining trash on him. And his thing is, guys, all my stuff is in here. My stuff. What is his stuff that's so important? He doesn't strike me as a guy that has a lot of valuables. And yet if you threaten his car or you threaten his condo or his bungalow, all he's worried about is his quote unquote stuff. I don't know. It sketches me out.
Stuff. Mm-hmm. Wasn't there an old magazine back in the day, like a man's magazine called Stuff? There
was. Oh, maybe that's what it is. He means all of my Stuff magazines are in my car. I need to get to them.
He's been a subscriber for 10 years and 10 years and running strong. I got to ask you though, Mikey, did you notice like the camera angle in Vito's house here? It's like they've got one planted in every corner of the room. And I'm just wondering, like, is that shit always there?
I wonder, man. You know what? I'm a skeptic when it comes to them, coming in and setting up an angle before and queuing up Vito, like, hey, just sit here. We got a prank coming or whatever. But I also kind of bet you that Bam was like, I'll pay for your place. Here's your bungalow. Here it is. Here's your car. But you have to allow cameras in here at all times. And he's like, either yes or no. And obviously he agreed to it. Otherwise, they're going in there and setting it up, and that's queuing up Vito that there's a prank. But I'm actually willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that wasn't what happened here, and that he actually just has cameras set up that are ready to roll at any point.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think, am I crazy for thinking that? I don't know.
I don't know either for sure, but like it makes sense that he might just have them set up ready to roll because they're making the TV show, right? So you want the easy access. But yeah, I just thought it was weird because it's like the only time we really get a shot like that, in the whole show, and it just kind of stood out as strange. But I don't know, maybe on your off hours you want to get behind the security desk and just see what Vito's up to, for some fun,
or avoid that like you avoid him in a fucking swimming pool.
Yeah. That does take us to the end of season 2, episode number 6. We are flying right through Viva La Bam. I believe, if I'm correct, we have 2 more to go. Is that right?
We have 2 more episodes left. Yeah. Right. Episodes 7 and 8. Jade, you want to do our MVPs, LVPs for this episode?
I do. And I almost always you think after like 80 something episodes, I'd get the fucking point. But let's do that.
Okay. I'll start off to give you some time. My MVP is, look, Anthony Hopkins won an Oscar for I think it's something around 8 minutes of screen time for Silence of the Lambs. He won a Best Actor, and I think that's the lowest amount of time. My MVP this year, or this episode, didn't have a lot of screen time, but when he was on screen, I fucking loved it, and it's Ryan Dunn. Basically, the cement truck scene, he just looked so mischievous, and we know that was a setup, but he really sold it like it wasn't. When they built the half pipe there, I was like, oh, okay, that whole thing was a setup. But until that, I actually kind of believe that he fucked up because he sort of sold it. And for that, I'm giving him the MVP.
Right on. Yeah, no, I'm glad you picked Ryan Dunn. Really, really glad. And especially when you said it was because of that one scene, because you're so right. Like, man, he's just like, he's acting like a total doofus in that part. Yeah. And I just love that when he pours the concrete, like they come out like, why did you do that? And he says something about, I can't even remember. He says something about the button being all sticky or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Like the button's really touchy or something. Really touchy,
yeah. Just blame it on literally anything else. Like, you know, it's just great. Yeah, but for the MVP for me on this one, I think I'm going to go with Phil, because Phil was just like, he was like the hype man this whole episode. He was game for anything. He did the baseball out of the gate. He dove into the pool without being asked. He, you know, anytime he was on screen, he was just trying to stay out of trouble and not get anyone upset. And he was just like, there's just something about his presence where he's just got this little grin, you know, just being mischievous old Phil there. And I just love that he was 100% game for this episode, and he was really there for the benefit of everyone else. So I'm giving
I feel like your MVP and my MVP are actually like quite similar in that way. Like, you know, he didn't have a ton of screen time, but when he was there, it felt like he was really getting the most out of being in the background a little bit. So I like that. I like that one. I'm for my LVP, I'm going to go with the owner of that hardware store who came in and just really, like, it's not his fault. He's the owner of a hardware store. He probably agreed to let them build a half pipe, so they gave him, you know, 5 minutes of like 30 seconds of screen time, but it was just very poorly done. So the spirit of this guy, but I guess I'm also kind of blaming MTV and the crew for allowing him to try to carry the weight of this scene where he's an upset store owner. Right. I didn't love his presence on the show. So the LVP is his appearance, not quite him, because, you know, he didn't do anything to deserve my wrath.
Yeah. You can't put, you know, more weight on that guy's shoulders. He's already weighed down enough by the mustache going into the sideburns.
Exactly.
It's a lot, you know? Plus, he's just kind of a shitty actor. Sorry, buddy.
Yes.
Hey, if you're out there listening, Mr. Mustache Man, hey, no hard feelings. No hard feelings. It's just
no hard feelings.
You know.
We still don't know what that guy's name is. I actually looked it up in the credits and I couldn't find it.
Not even credited, eh?
Not even credited. No.
Right. Well, Mikey, for my LVP, I think it's clear that the real LVP here is the STLB community. And I say that because, I mean, hey, listen, a lot of things have come back, even from, you know, as far back as the 80s and 90s, we're starting to see the resurgence of baggier pants again. Chris talked about this. He loves that. He loves that shit. We're starting to see, like, you know, jean jackets and like those mom jeans came back. A lot of things from back in the day. But I don't think the mullet is ever going to find a place. I just feel like it won't. And I think that's the LVP for today.
I think that's totally fair. I disagree, though. The mullet is absolutely coming back. Much to my dismay, I think it's ugly as fuck. But the mullet is now a thing. Like, if you see, like, kids nowadays wear mullets. And I don't know if it was always
ironically, right?
But that's the thing. Like,
no,
it is until it isn't. It is until the cool thing is to wear something ironically, and then we now believe it looks cool. Like, remember when Justin Bieber came out wearing those, like, the rapist glasses? You know, those, like, rapist glasses? They like the gold frame, like the Jeffrey Dahmer.
I'm afraid I don't know the type that you're referring to there.
The Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. The Jeffrey Dahmer glasses.
Yeah, I know.
Don't act like you don't have a stash of those things in your desk drawer just in case
next to
you
my
need
stuffed
them.
magazines. Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, in the glove compartment of your white van with no windows in it. Yeah. Like when he wore those, everyone was like, "This is so stupid." But then everyone wore them ironically, and then they became cool. So it's like, it's back, whether it's ironic or not. There's no difference. Irony is dead. People just do things for whatever reason they want. We started a Jackass podcast. A lot of people probably thought we were being ironic when we started it, but we fucking love this shit.
Still going, motherfuckers.
Still going. No plans on stopping.
Hey, no plans on stopping. And hey, if you want to reach out to us as usual, at JackastPod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and more. Plus, we've got an email address, Mikey, don't we?
We do, absolutely. It's jackastpod@gmail.com.
Baby. Yeah. And we said it at the top of the show. you know what? Hey, we appreciate the fun going around, but if you feel like leaving us a review, if you're going to, take time to comment, that helps us a ton. And I'm saying it again because, fuck, like you never know if you review the show or you tell a friend, like that's even better. I mean, man. Fuck, like your grandma who's like 80 years old, you could live in her whole fucking life. Didn't even know what she's been missing. Show her the fucking podcast.
80-year-olds will love it.
What did I do with my life? What was
all of
I
a sudden
doing?
your grandma's into Jackass. What more can you don't have anything to talk to your grandparents about. Show them this podcast. Maybe they end up, show them the Family Feud episode, get their feet wet. Get introduced to these guys.
Show her Spike Jones and the old lady cosplay.
Yeah.
Like I swear on this show, we see more old lady titty than we do young lady titty. So if that's not a demographic, please, just tell a friend, rate and review, get us up the charts. And we appreciate everything that everybody has done for us thus far, too. Because, I mean, like, without listeners, without the show growing and more people, like, catching on to it, we know that it's working. So we can track the numbers, and we have seen some growth over time. And I just love checking in every now and then at those stats and seeing that they have gone up. Like, seriously, guys, we don't say that enough, but that makes all the difference for us doing this. Because, any podcast you do, if you're a podcaster, you're going to hit low points. It's that kind of shit that, like, makes us want to keep doing it. So we appreciate you.
It's nice knowing that you guys are out there listening. Means a lot to us. But rattle those cages a little bit. Leave some reviews that, like, for people who just create for the sake of creating, it's, we're going to do this regardless. But man, it feels really good to know people are out there listening and caring. So if you can, it would mean a ton to us.
And if anybody sees Chris, please tell him that we miss him and come back soon.
Come back soon, Chris. We'll see you. We'll see you hopefully next week.
All right, Chris. At this point in the show, everybody else fuck off again for a second.
Yeah. Just take a break, everyone.
Ears covered. If you're listening at this point in the show, if you want to write in and we'll wait. We'll wait. If you want to begin the sign off here.
Oh yeah, Chris. If you want to do that,
that'd be fantastic. I mean, we'll wait though. Like no rush.
We'll wait. Another week if we have to. Maybe you better cue us off. Maybe that'll be because he usually leaves things to the last minute. So maybe when he hears you signing off, he'll do his he'll stop saving things to the last minute and actually get it out of the way.
Oh nope. I'll wait. It's okay.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll wait.
Mikey, please.
Sorry?
Break my concentration. Just.
Oh, what are you concentrating on?
Nothing, just enjoying the silence. Is that a problem?
What are you, Depeche Mode?
Yeah, maybe I am. Fuck you. Maybe I am. Listen, guys, I just came up with I could just do this all day. Like, I pretty much just won. Like, I checkmated Mikey, if you want to go back to the shitty chessboard analogy. Because at this point, I mean, we could just wait forever. We really could.
Well,
I mean,
we could, but our listeners won't. And that's what you got to be worried about.
No, come on. We're not worried about that at all.
Oh, right, because they already took a break to go leave us reviews.
Yeah, they don't even know this is happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. They're just going to come back and be like, the show's still on?
Yeah, that's the idea. I will see you next week for another episode of Viva La Bam. Season 2, episode 7. Going to be fun. But until then, bye. I'm Jason Wellwood.
Bye, I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Bye, I'm Mikey Aaronworth. And this has been Jackast.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it!